Welcome to historic Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. This tiny paperclip-shaped oval is the shortest, tightest, and arguably most competitive track in all of NASCAR. This weekend it plays host to stop number 6 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Now, rain has pushed back our schedule today. We're scheduled to be qualifying here momentarily, but we're able to get one practice session in, so qualifying will now not go until about 3:40 Eastern Time. And take a look at the top 10 in this session. No surprise that Mark Martin at the top of the speed charts. But how about Juan Pablo Montoya? And look at Dale Earnhardt Jr., who has led the most laps here twice in the last 5 races. Work ongoing down in the garage areas. They're now getting ready to qualify here later today as we check in down there with Dave Burns.
And Doc, in that graphic, you were able to see some of the numbers these guys put up in terms of numbers of laps run here in the very first practice session of the weekend. An hour's practice that teams usually reserve to get ready for qualifying. Well, they were in the 60s, and Jimmy Johnson, championship leader, was in the 70s in terms of the number of laps he ran. That's because a lot of these guys were working on race setup because they're not sure they're going to get a chance to run tomorrow at all. The weather forecast calls for rain most of the day. We'll see if that happens, but if these guys do get that rain, they've all prepared very well today by running lots of laps in the opening practice. Weather right now, beautiful, and qualifying very important here at Martinsville. Shannon Spake.
Dave, while the green flag doesn't drop until Sunday afternoon, most drivers will tell you that the race actually begins today. And that's because out of all of the tracks that we visit on the circuit, the qualifying session here at Martinsville is probably the most important. 2 reasons. Number 1, on the racetrack, track position is so important. It's a half-mile track. If you start in the back of the field, you're already a half a lap down once the flag drops. And then, of course, on pit road, there is one pit stall that is very, very good here at Martinsville, and that is number 1. And, of course, that belongs to your pole sitter. 7-time champion, Martinsville champion Jeff Gordon, said the driver and the team who has that pit stall on Sunday will absolutely have an advantage in this race. Doc?
Thank you very much, Shannon. So it is a big bonus to qualify well here at Martinsville Speedway because track position and pit position, as you said, very critical. Hello, everyone. I'm Jerry Punch, and as we told you, we were coming on the air for live coverage of qualifying here at Martinsville, but because of rain, qualifying now will not take place until about 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time, but we do have some bonus coverage for you. We're going to be headed out to Memphis, Tennessee, where Marty Reed and the guys are standing by for live coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series practice. And Marty, there are 5 drivers going back and forth doing double duty here as well as in Memphis.
Well, you're absolutely right, Doc, and the big question will be exactly how long those guys will take to get here, and we may not even see them until tomorrow at race time. Remember that we qualify at 10:45 a.m. and then race later tomorrow afternoon. So as they're out on the track right now practicing, we can tell you that Mike Bliss is the quickest at 22.90 seconds, and there is the 11 car that Bliss has taken to a second-place finish twice this year and done very well in the 5 cars that he has varied his appearances. And the 16 car with Ricky Stenhouse Jr., one of our substitute drivers right now. Of course, Matt Kenseth is scheduled to drive that car. In fact, for more on the double-duty drivers, let's check in with Jack Arute.
Justin Lofton, however, let's go back upstairs.
Okay, we got a little technical glitch with your microphone, Jack. We'll tell you that the double-duty drivers, the situation with Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is if he starts that car tomorrow, he would lose his rookie status, and they want to save that for next year. So right now, the line of action will be that Stenhouse will practice the car, and if Matt Kenseth does not qualify it, Stenhouse will qualify. But if Matt can't make it in time to race, well then James Lofton, the brand new ARCA champion, would come in, start the car, then Ricky would jump into the ride and get laps and get the experience, but it wouldn't ruin his Rookie of the Year status for next season. So that's what Jack was going to tell you, and right now he is doing okay out there on the track. And as we see Stenhouse pulling back in the garage, we're going to bring in Rusty Wallace and also Randy LaJoie. Randy, you've won here at this track, and it's really asphalt, but as you look at that surface, it doesn't look like asphalt.
Not at all. They say it's a blacktop racetrack, but it's white. And that's one thing this racetrack does. It doesn't have a lot of grip.
They have a new tire here. These guys are going to be driving very hard all day long tomorrow.
And Randy, that new tire you're talking about is very important right now too. That's a tire they ran at Indianapolis Raceway Park. We call it ORP out there. And the tire was developed up at New Hampshire. Some of the new development that came forth through the Indianapolis Motor Speedway problems a couple of years ago. But the drivers love this tire, and it is the softest tire they've run here in the last couple of years. So the drivers are liking that. And if you remember, a couple of years ago, we had a lot of cautions at this racetrack. Goodyear thinks that this new tire is going to help that problem.
Brad Keselowski, as he continues out on track, 5th on the speed charts right now, 23.08. And there is Mike Bliss, who is leader in the clubhouse so far. 45 cars have already been out to practice here in this first session.
Yeah, they're all getting a lot of track time. I really think some of the cars that went out early were at a disadvantage because the track was so green right here. I don't agree with some of the guys that went out early. They kind of roughed their tires up, really abused them on this green racetrack. But right now, the times are starting to get faster and faster. But watching Bliss right there, he's got a lot of momentum, this team does. Like Marty said earlier, 2nd at Dover, Delaware, 2nd at Charlotte last week. This team's doing real well with Bliss behind the wheel.
You know, I talked to Mike this morning, and, you know, he was 6th in points, got released from his ride, been ride hopping. This is a great team. They have an alliance with Joe Gibbs Racing. You know, I said, Mike, how old are you? He said, 44. He goes to the same hair doctor you do. He got the comb forward.
It's already started.
If you're going to start right now, we're going to get on him, boy, I'll tell you. What do you think about that, Marty? He's already roughing me up. Just like these cats are going to do on Saturday afternoon right here in Memphis.
That's right. They're going to be a little leaner on each other. There's Jason Leffler, 5 top 10 finishes in 6 short track races this season. And he right now is 6th on the speed charts at a 23.10 second lap.
This team really wants to win. These guys have the greatest chance this weekend, they feel, because the technology that they don't have, that they're not affiliated with a Cup team, Rusty, you know, it gives these short guys, the guys that don't have a lot of people, a lot of technology, it gives these guys a chance at a 3/4-mile racetrack.
Well, as Jason pulls it on in, Toyota can clinch the Manufacturers' Championship this weekend by finishing ahead of just one other make in the race. So that's one big thing for Toyota, as they're all but sure of doing that either this week or in 2 weeks when we race in Dallas. We're going to step aside for a moment here at first practice. Bonus coverage from Memphis Motorsports Bar.
What a great event to drive to.
Especially on new Fuel Max tires.
Introducing Goodyear Fuel Max tires. An innovative tread compound saves you 2,600 miles worth of gas over the life of the tires.
2,600 miles.
Now that would be a long race.
Goodyear. Get there.
Oceans of shrimp are now at Golden Corral. For around $10, enjoy 10 endless premium dishes like our new shrimp scampi, lemon herb shrimp over tilapia, and tortellini with shrimp and lobster sauce.
Where else can you get all this for around $10? Nowhere!
Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
Precision handling, high-performance braking, smooth and comfortable ride. Tame the road, hand-cooked tires.
Batter's up, and so is Jones, checking the sign to the men's room.
Not the first time. He's going over and over.
And Carter was in there a long time.
Stopping and starting. These guys should see their doctors.
Could be male urinary symptoms due to BPH and enlarged prostate.
For many guys, prescription Flomax reduces their urinary symptoms due to BPH in 1 week. Only your doctor can tell if you have BPH, not a more serious condition like prostate cancer.
Avoid driving or hazardous tasks for 12 hours after your first dose or increase in dose, as a sudden drop in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting.
If considering cataract surgery, tell your eye surgeon you've taken Flomax.
Common side effects are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen.
Ask your doctor if Flomax is right for you.
For many men, Flomax can make a difference in 1 week.
BCS contenders Texas and USC are put to the test in a night of critical conference showdowns. Saturday Night Football on ABC, presented by Southwest Airlines, Texas, Missouri, or Oregon State USC. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern. College football lives here.
Still about a half hour away from Cup qualifying over in Martinsville. They got put back by the rain, so bonus coverage here from Memphis Motorsports Park as its first practice for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. Mike Bliss still atop the speed charts. Did it back on lap number 6 of 16 at 22.90 seconds, 117.86 miles an hour. This is a 3/4 mile short track, and we talk about a lot of leaning going on. Well, we've got 5 double-duty drivers. Let's get an update on one of them, the 16 of Ricky Stenhouse. Jack Arute, try it again. All right, thanks, Jack, and we'll keep it tabs on that. Let's come up topside here and bring in the 2 handsome guys that are going to be doing battle and rubbing elbows like we're going to be rubbing fenders down there. We talked about the conditions of this surface. There's one other change that I found out when I was strolling through the garage area earlier this morning. They've also changed the rear-end gearing, which is going to change some setups.
Absolutely, a lot of gearing. The gear doesn't help the motors slow down the race car, so they're going to probably use some more brake. They're going to have to put some more right rear spring in it to get the car to turn to keep the center of the corner speed up.
Well, there's going to be some different things, just like you said. The gear's going to affect all that. It'll affect the brakes. It'll affect many things, and the teams know that. They usually use the engines to help slow these cars down to protect the front brakes, but that will be an issue. But the other issue they're going to have right now, they got this new tire we talked about earlier, which is a really good tire. Other thing they want to do, they want to get these cars qualified very, very well, guys. They need to get them up front, because here at this track position is everything. We've had problems before with crashes. Back to their new tire, Goodyear thinks that new tire is going to help a lot of that problem.
Well, you're looking at the one car and you're saying, well, who's in it this week? It's Landon Castle, last year's Rookie of the Year in the series, who almost looked like he dropped off the face of the nationwide earth because we just haven't seen him out. He's in this ride, and so far he's second on the speed chart.
Well, this race car was the fastest thing here last year. They didn't win the race with Bliss in the car. This is a great race team. They have very fast short track race cars, and that's something that Landon's going to have to do. I think if I was Landon, I'd go for broke. You better look out. I want to win practice. I want to win the pole. I want to win the race.
Well, Randy, you're exactly right. And a lot of these guys are driving for a job. This, in my mind, is one of the last opportunity races of the year. If they get an opportunity to get in a car and shine, they need to do it, because these car owners are looking for some drivers. Unlike the past, there's a whole lot of drivers and very few rides. These guys all want to get in those cars, and they're running out of time right now. So this cat right here needs to drive his butt off and try to show off for somebody.
Well, they think the owners, too, want a driver with a little bit of money.
Bliss, Castle, and then it's Johnny Chapman, which is normally a starting park. In fact, he's turned a total of 4 laps. He's third on the speed charts. Stephen Light is fourth. Brad Keselowski fifth. Jason Leffler is in the 6th. Let's check in on another one of our double-duty drivers, and that'll be the 60 with Augie Vidovich behind the wheel. And there he is. And again, we see the pink colors for Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Hey, this is a great opportunity for Augie Vidovich, Marty. It really is. This guy is a good short track racer. He's got an opportunity to fill in for Carl Edwards right now. And he's another one who knows he needs to make the best out of it. No mistakes out there. Just get the car driving good. Don't overdrive it. Don't show off. Don't crash it. That's not what he's here to do. And in the past, he's done a good job.
He did this last year. I think he's done this the last couple of years for the 60 car. Augie, you see Augie driving around here, walking around the pits all summer long, saying, hey, give me a chance. Give me a chance.
You see the track right now, how gray it is. I mean, it doesn't have much rubber on it whatsoever, and they're trying to get the track rubbered up and try to get the cars handling better, because right now, unless you get a lot of rubber on these short racetracks, it's going to change big time as this race goes on. So what they're learning now is not a lot at the moment.
And we've got caution on the track. As you can see, we've got a car sort of turned around and coming out of the turn 4 area. It's the 92 of Willie Allen. I couldn't see the number at first. There he is. comes across what will be the start-finish line here at Memphis Motorsports Park.
Marty, I tell you, turn 4 at this particular racetrack, I see a lot of action off that corner lot. The guys can pick the throttles up really early in the middle of turn 3 and 4. A lot of times they get loose off at turn 4. Looks like Willie just lost it off turn 4. No homer, no file, nothing's tore up on the car. But he'll just have to tighten that car up a little bit when he goes back out.
Well, and if he hopefully did not flat spot the tires, because remember, you only get 5 sets for the entire race weekend. So while we're down for this mini spin, we'll step aside for a quick break here at Memphis Motorsports Park and our bonus coverage of practice here in the Nationwide Series as we get ready for qualifying over at Martinsville in about 24 minutes.
We don't have a $5 footlong or a fancy jingle, but at CC's, we have a 24-foot-long endless buffet of pure deliciosity. And for 2 weeks, it's only $4.99. That's a $4.99 24-foot-long to you, friend.
Inventors, InventHelp can help you try to patent your idea and submit it to companies. Call 1-800-236-7211 for free information. That's 1-800-236-7211.
It was always a dream of mine to be out here. You can get overawed by the lights, the cameras, the people. The more you think about something, the more pressure you're putting on yourself. The guys that are out here are so good that you can't realize it until you actually get out here. When I figured that I did have the tools to actually do it, it's what I've dreamt of my whole life. It's a whole new level. That's what Sundays are for.
Watch the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour, Sunday at 1 p.m. on ESPN.
What is this thing we're going to?
It's a charity event for dogs with Down syndrome.
Oh, I thought you were kidding.
It's an epidemic.
It's Matt Freeman, the Oracle. He's a fantasy football genius.
He just licked a hot dog.
Your client's going away for 10 years. Unless you give me the #1 pick, I'm going to knock it down from 10 to 7. What was that? You're going away for 5 years, and I just lost Adrian Peterson.
The League, Thursday at 10:30 on FX.
When we began advertising on Comcast, we saw immediate results.
We've really seen the benefit of targeting our zone.
We're targeting the people that want to get storage in our area.
We can actually see where our advertising dollars are going specifically.
We were able to target our market in a close area. Really worked out well for us.
Comcast Cable has really come through for us.
To target your customers in one or more of our 21 local zones, call 1-888-SPOT-TV1.
Back here at Memphis Motorsports Park in Millington, Tennessee, just a little northeast of downtown Memphis. This is bonus coverage for race number 32 of 35 in the 2009 NASCAR Nationwide Series schedule. And what we have is a stoppage because of a spin by Willie Allen. We can tell you this bonus coverage is leading into NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying over at Martinsville, and that will be coming up at 3:40 Eastern Time, which means about 21 minutes from now. While we've got a chance, let's check in down in pit road area and back in the garage area. There's Rick DeBrule.
We want to talk about, Marty, the fact that we've got some drivers making their debut this weekend. One of them, Richard Boswell III, is running for JR Motorsports. He's been running in the junior program for late models for this year, and they finally decided they could get him into one of these rides. You see him right there in the number 5 car. He's taking over the number 5 car. He is the seventh driver who's taking over this car. I talked to him earlier today. I said, is it intimidating coming here to Memphis and doing it? He said, no. I said, really, this is the best place. He said, I'm used to late models. I'm used to going on short tracks, and this is the best way to go. He did get 50 laps in at Florence, so he got a better feel for it. He said the thing that was unusual for him was realizing you really don't have that, you don't have the kind of driving you do with the late model. You actually almost have to drive slower in to make more speed out. So the 50 laps he had at Florence, he learned a lot, and now he's ready to put it to use. By the way, new crew chief for that team this week instead of Brian Campy. Now they've got Tony Uri Jr., and according to Richard Boswell, he says Tony's got a lot of experience. I'm really happy about that. Jack? One thing I can tell you is third time is the charm, all right? Let's talk a little bit about the fact, as you alluded to, Marty, that Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is doing most of the driving chores for the Matt Kenseth number 16. But there is one youngster here that got the call earlier this week to stand by the name of Justin Lofton. Now, what Justin is going to be pressed into service to do is only run the car if Matt Kenseth doesn't make it for the race. Why? Because Ricky Stenhouse Jr. wants to preserve his rookie status in the Nationwide Series for next season.
So Justin will get 2 laps today in the second practice session. And then he'll have to spend a restless night watching the Weather Channel. Guys?
All right. Thanks for the update, Jack. As you can see, cars back out on track, and Mike Bliss still atop the speed charts. When we get a chance, I'd love to go back to the story on the 5 car, because here's Richard Boswell II getting his first ride, and all of a sudden, there's a crew chief change between Brian Campy and now Tony Uri Jr.
I think he's a lot more comfortable with Tony Jr. due to the fact that Jr.'s been around the late model shop. This is a late model kid that runs Junior Motorsports. Willie Jackson, which is Dale Jr.'s stepdad, runs the late model operation for him. And Richard has done a great job for the late model team. He's won a bunch of races, and now he has a shot. I'm glad that Junior gave the kid a chance.
Well, Richard's got to have a lot of confidence with Tony Uri Jr., just like you said. The guys are all family. They all know each other over there. He's got to feel really comfortable jumping in this car with Junior as a crew chief. And, really, that's a really big-time crew chief for this number 5 car. This kid's got to be a little bit humbled also and excited also to have a guy that good tutoring him along in his first race here at Memphis.
And he's 7th right now on the speed charts, 23.12 seconds at 116.75 miles an hour.
Marty, I wouldn't be surprised at all if we see some big upsets this weekend, especially from drivers like this, different short track drivers. You got to remember, these cats all cut their teeth on these short tracks, and this is a very short, framming and bamming, a lot of body contact style track.
Let's check in on Stephen Light. He is currently 4th on the speed charts, 22.97 seconds. That's about 700 slower than Mike Bliss.
I do believe this is the last. He won an event here, and this might be his last ride with Childress. So there again, he's going to be up on the wheel saying, okay, guys, this is going to be my last chance for the year in a very good race team. I'm going all out.
I'll tell you, we talked about it last week in our NASCAR Countdown show about these drivers driving for a ride. And like I said, there is not many cars. There's a bunch of drivers out there. You see Light go high right now. Looks like that car's not handling good, but they're all trying to show off. They're all trying to impress somebody. And like we said earlier, this is one of their last chances to do it. They got to get it done.
Ironically, all 3 cars that went by there, including the 32 of Brian Eichler, the 6 of Eric Darnell. We've talked about his fact that he may not have a ride next year with Roush. They don't have enough funding right now. And the fact that Stephen Light himself, everybody's trying to find work.
Yeah, I talked to Richard Childress yesterday. He's got a single-car nationwide team right now. Used to have a 2-car team, but he told me the funding is hard to find, but he feels good with the 29 car.
Well, I think he's switching to one of the truck events, too. I think he's going to run a truck for his grandson next year. And here's 2 guys, 2 Roush teammates. Eric has done a great job all year long, whether it was in the nationwide car or truck. And here's a kid that might be on the outside looking in next year.
I watch Eric Darnell in that 6 car, like you were talking, Randy, at Milwaukee, Wisconsin this year, guys. You remember that? He went out there and set on the pole position, led a lot of laps, run strong. So he's a really good qualifier. And every time I see him in this 6, he's always fast in practice. And there's a talk that maybe he might not be back with Roush next year because of lack of sponsorship. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's hope these guys can get that team shored up financially.
Well, you can see his first DNF in 15 career races was last week at Charlotte. He's 11th on the speed charts right now, 23.23 seconds.
That's one of the things that Eric does so well is he finishes the races. That's one thing as a young driver you really got to focus on at least finishing the race.
So as he continues to turn laps, going back out on the track is the number 11 of Mike Bliss, and we'll tell you that he is still our fastest car in this first practice here at Memphis Motorsports Park. Behind him, it's Landon Castle, and then Chapman, Light, Brad Keselowski. That's your top 5 here at Memphis in our bonus coverage. Don't forget, qualifying coming up in about 15 minutes.
So what do you like for tonight's game?
This game will be 2 gladiators gladiating it out. This game is going to be an angry baby, a woman scorned, a tornado inside a volcano, a cackling witch.
Stuck in a bad relationship with sports radio? Switch to ESPN Radio for the best sports on the dial.
With the addition of a closer, I think it can really strengthen their bullpen. Amazing.
It's a new shirt.
Kevin, filling up with nitrogen-enriched shell gasoline? It contains a cleaning system that seeks and destroys the engine gunk left by lower quality gasoline. Then it acts as a barrier that protects engines from performance-robbing gunk.
She's trying to wreck me.
Quit your whining, Harvick.
Yes! Winner! Kevin, everyone's a winner with nitrogen-enriched shell gasoline.
From the track to the woods to podiums everywhere. The Yamaha YFZ 450R for the track and new YFZ 450X for the woods. They're the ultimate win-win.
Oceans of shrimp are now at Golden Corral. For around $10, enjoy 10 endless premium dishes like our new shrimp scampi, lemon herb shrimp over tilapia, and tortellini with shrimp and lobster sauce.
Where else can you get all this for around $10?
Nowhere! Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
Struggling with credit card debt? Are you worried about making your monthly payments? The Financial Future Network will refer you to a debt settlement consultant. Feel the freedom of debt-free living. The phone call is free and there's no obligation.
Own a timeshare? Turn it into cash.
No more mortgage payments.
Thank you, Timeshares Only.
At Timeshares Only, you'll find properties from the biggest names in the industry. If you want to buy, sell, or rent, call now. Call Timeshares Only and get your free information kit with our insider secrets to buying, selling, and renting timeshares, plus receive a free $100 gift card.
Over $5 billion sold in the past 6 months proves now can be the best time to sell.
Call 800-363-3670. That's 800-363-3670.
Back here with our bonus coverage at Memphis Motorsports Park of first practice for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. We're looking at Stephen Wallace, 10th right now on the speed charts, 23.21 seconds. Lost a lot of ground last week in the hunt for that 5th and final spot. In fact, he's actually in jeopardy of dropping to 7th because Mike Bliss has been coming on so strong.
That's one thing NASCAR did this year. I guess to save some money, they combined the Nationwide and the Truck Series banquets, and now only the top 5 out of each are going to be up on the stage.
I want to remind you, coming up next in about, let's see, about 13 minutes by my watch, it'll be Sprint Cup qualifying from Martinsville, Virginia. Doc and the gang is standing by as they got pushed back a little bit by rain, and that meant some bonus time for us, so we could show you some of this first practice session where Mike Bliss is still leading the speed charts, and 48 of our 50 entries have practiced here in this first session. Let's check in with Rick DeBrule. He's caught up with the man who's fast.
Indeed, on the top of the speed charts, and we were talking just before practice, and you said you thought this was going to be fast. You thought this car was going to be great right out of the box. You're right.
Well, I mean, Paul Wolf and I, crew chief on this Ride Makers Toyota, we ran good here, and Armando fits his car, so you know, you run good at Richmond, you're going to run good here, and they ran pretty good at Richmond. So, yeah, it's good. You know, we're just you can't run a long time here because the tires wear out. So you just got to make big, smart moves, and we're just kind of nitpicking it right now.
Yeah, listening on the radio, you're not taking anything for granted. You're still trying to find whatever that extra thing is out there, right?
Well, yeah, certainly. You'll never have a car that's perfect. So I just want to make sure we can get a little bit freer because it generally tightens up here.
And you're still looking for Ride for Phoenix.
Yeah.
If anybody's listening.
Well, that's a couple races from now, so I haven't worried about that yet.
We'll worry about today. Mike Bliss right now on the top of the charts. Jack?
Well, Mike Bliss was talking about taking good care of his tires. We caught up with some of these new tires that Rusty and Randy were talking about, and it's one of the things that I'm noticing in this first practice session, fellas, is the fact that everybody is making, as I like to call it, judicious use of these new tires. As much as they want to know what the grippier tire will do on this worn-out racetrack, they realize they've got another practice session this afternoon, and when you're limited to 5 sets of tires, you don't have unlimited sets of Goodyears to strap on the car to do your research and dialing in. So listening in on the radio and watching the number of cars that are out there, I think it's going to get really hairy in the final practice session today. Right now, everybody's being, as I say, the word for the day, judicious.
Thank you, Jack. As out on track right now, we check in on the 88 of Brad Keselowski. Still 4th, 23.08. But again, we don't expect much movement now because these guys have been on these tires for a while, and we need to start looking at the laps that they're currently turning in comparison to everybody else. He's dropped off to like a 23:58 on that last lap, and the only person that's been faster of that top 5 group has been Mike Bliss.
Well, that's one thing that a lot of crew chiefs do with the lap trackers. And this place Brad really likes. He had a chance. He had a driver Jermaine truck a couple years ago. Ted Musgrave had to sit out, and that was pretty much his coming out party. So, Brad loves this racetrack. He did very good in the truck. And you better look out. These guys are going to be tough.
But he hasn't had the results to speak for the way he likes this track. In 3 races in the Nationwide Series, his best finish is 9th back in 07.
Marty, this particular track is a very old school track. It's real rough. The surface is really abrupt. It wears tires real hard. And a lot of the drivers here, this reminds them of some of the old tracks they used to drive when they were growing up. And so they're going to have to get these cars with a lot of mechanical grip. The tires are going to have to stay on these cars for a long time. And that's what they're doing right now. The fast speeds that we saw earlier are gone right now. They've slowed up about a half a second. And now they know this is what they're going to have in the race. And they got to get the car handled like that.
You know, there's one other thing that could motivate Brad. There's another $75,000 out there. He's won it once already in that Nationwide Dash for Cash. And Marty, you could explain it a whole lot better than I can.
Well, the Nationwide Dash for Cash is the 4 standalone events. We've already had 3 of them, and the money kept rolling over through the first 2 at Nashville and Kentucky, and we got to Iowa, if you remember, and it was this guy right here, Brad Keselowski, who took home the $75,000 by winning the race. Well, there is still $25,000 up for grabs this race, plus a year-end points championship bonus of $50,000, and here is the battle there. Kyle Busch leads Brad Keselowski by 5. So the big challenge for Keselowski is if he can win the race, he runs the table. He will literally take all $150,000.
Well, I wouldn't put it against him because Brad has been flying. I mean, every track he goes to in this 88 car, he's been strong. And now Brad, you know, just like all these rest of these drivers, they cut their teeth on these short tracks. So I'm going back to what I said a little while ago. This is a tough old short track, and I think Brad can get the job done here.
And we should point out there are 2 drivers that are not eligible for the Nationwide Dash for Cash. It would be the 99 of David Rudiman, and it'll be Matt Kenseth if he makes it back to run the 16. And the reason is there, you must be a regular full-time driver on the Nationwide Tour.
That's one thing I think Nationwide does great. There's our in-race reporter coming up for tomorrow, Jason Keller. Jason Keller was a young gun before they had young guns.
You know, this will be his 490th start. Second on the list will be your brother, Kenny Wallace. He'll celebrate number 450 on Saturday.
I'll be darned. I didn't know that. That's incredible. I know Kenny will be thinking about that. Like you said, Randy, that's our in-race reporter, Jason Keller. We'll be talking to him throughout the race. And he is another veteran short track racer. This is a guy that's won a lot of short tracks around the country, really good at what he does there. And I'll guarantee you, he's happy that he's at this place.
Well, if you want to talk and ask a question to our driver, Jason Keller, you saw it right there. Go to ESPN.com. Key in the search of Ask the Driver. Get your question in. What Rusty may be asking it to Jason tomorrow during our race coverage.
That's one thing, Rusty. These guys are going to be working all day tomorrow. This racetrack is a short track. They're going to be sawing on that steering wheel all day long.
Oh, they will. It's going to be physical. I mean, a lot of the drivers I talked to this morning are really concerned about crashes. You know, this track in the past, now last year was pretty good, but the year before, what do we have, guys? Like 23 cautions?
We had 25, which was just one shy of the all-time record set at Hickory back in 1996 at 26. It felt like the 24 hours of Memphis, if you remember.
Well, that's on their mind, that they don't want to crash at this track or getting involved in a crash. And, you know, going back to those tires again, that's one thing they're pretty pumped up about. This is the softest tire they've had here in 2 years, which is going to get them better grip. Because in the past, they were spinning out in like the first 5 laps. We just couldn't get the momentum in this race.
Well, as Jason pulls in, we can tell you that on the speed charts, he is 20th right now at 23.37. How about Matt DiBenedetto? He is making his series debut. He has 2 Camping World East Series wins, and let's get more on the 18-year-old from Rick DeBrule.
Yeah, the big debut. They did go and test for a day at the Motor Miles. Talking with his crew chief, he was saying, you know, Matt really asked good questions for a guy. You know, he's obviously having to come to grips with learning this particular car, but he says he's asking great questions. One of the battles, of course, in this situation is you got a new guy out there. You don't want to give him too much information. You don't want a situation where you're really overloading him. So Dave Rogers, the crew chief, is saying, you know, I'm going to give him enough information to kind of feed him, keep him going without doing too much. And, you know, it's interesting. We were talking about, okay, what's the goal today? You know, I mean, what are you trying to accomplish? And Dave said, we came here to win.
Tell you what, Rick, that's a good place. I mean, he's come here to win. There's no doubt about that. He's a short tracker, thinks he can get it done. But something you said a little while ago about the motor mile, that's a short track that a lot of guys have tested at. And that was probably a really good move, bringing him over here to that little short track to get ready for right here at Memphis, Tennessee. A good call by the crew chief.
Well, I tell you what, if they had flames coming out these exhausts on his car, well, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, there is Matt, and some of you may remember he made a mini debut at Dover, and it wasn't very auspicious. This is what happened. He was taking over Denny Hamlin, and it was really an interesting situation. He wasn't overdriving the car.
No, not at all. I talked to Matt because later in the day, he'd come back to almost win the Camper World race, which my son run third in. I said, Matt, what happened? He goes, Randy, I didn't fit in the car. I didn't like the steering wheel that Denny had. I took the steering wheel off of my Camping World East car, put it in, left the racetrack, got on the racetrack, and the steering wheel got caught against his seat belts, unhooked his seat belts, and made him crash.
Okay, that's one of the most embarrassing moment deals, right? When he grows up, he thinks about that. I go, man, next time I'm gonna get the steering wheel fitting right. This cockpit's gonna be just the way I want it. No more excuses like that.
Well, that's something that race car drivers don't pay enough attention to. You know, something as small as a different steering wheel can mess your day up.
All right, so there's Matt in the garage area, out on track. Mike Bliss, and here's the big number. He has now run 25 laps. He is still the fastest car. His last lap, 23.36 seconds. The next fastest car is a half a second behind. They've got themselves a ride right now. Stay with us. We're back with more.
Oceans of shrimp are now at Golden Corral. For around $10, enjoy 10 endless premium dishes like our new shrimp scampi, lemon herb shrimp over tilapia, and tortellini with shrimp and lobster sauce.
Where else can you get all this for around $10? Nowhere!
Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
Why would any fun-loving, red-blooded all-American male give up watching football to upgrade his headlights? Because Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania are up to 50% brighter and let you see up to 40% farther and up to 50% wider. But more importantly, because it's easier to replace a couple of headlights than it is...
Thanks, Dad.
...a daughter. See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
It works. It's real.
You will be put to the test.
He helped me.
Saw 6. Rated R. In theaters everywhere today.
My new computer started out fast, really fast, but now it's only kind of fast.
Hold on, let me check my email. It's not loading. Let me try this again.
If your computer doesn't run like it's supposed to, if your internet connection is unreliable, even on a so-called fast connection, even if your brand new computer isn't as fast as it ought to be, you might not have any real problem at all. FinallyFast.com free performance test will immediately diagnose any hidden problems and show you how to get more speed on any computer. Plus, FinallyFast.com provides you the software you need to get your computer up to peak performance by getting rid of all the nasty junk files, spyware, adware, and registry errors that make even the best computers freeze and crash. Find out why Ascentive has been featured in Newsweek, Forbes, and the Wall Street Journal. You could save hundreds, even thousands of dollars by taking the Finally Fast performance test first.
I'm booted up. What's that URL I should look at? FinallyFast.com. Hey, my computer's fast. Finally. FinallyFast.com.
Are your credit cards maxed out? Just making minimum payments or even behind on your bills? Freedom Debt Relief's mission is to help you get rid of your credit card debt.
I had over $25,000 in credit card debt. Then I called Freedom Debt Relief and got my debt cut in half. I was debt-free in less than 24 months.
This is a unique program that will get you relief and on your way to being debt-free. Make the most important call of your life today.
Call Freedom Debt Relief now at 1-800-324-8991. That's 1-800-324-8991.
We have. Okay, all right. I think I am one.
Well, we're just about ready to wrap up our bonus coverage of Nationwide Series practice here at Memphis Motorsports Park. There's the view of downtown Memphis from here in Millington. Let's take a look at the top 10 in speeds. And Mike Bliss, this is one car to deal with tomorrow because these guys are on a rail right now. They turned the fastest lap early, and they have been fastest even as the practice has progressed and the tires have fallen off. Behind him is Landon Castle, as we mentioned, a young man trying to make an impression and hopefully get a full-time ride. What we're going to do now is switch things back over to Martinsville, where Dr. Jerry Punch and the guys have taken a 40-minute break at our poor expense, guys. Come on, it's time for you guys to go to work, and let's do some Cup qualifying.
Hey, Marty, it was a great nap. You guys did a nice job covering the NASCAR Nationwide Series. We'll come back out there to Memphis later on today after our qualifying here in Martinsville, Virginia. I'm joined by Andy Petrie and Dale Jarrett. Folks, glad to have you with us back here. If you just joined our coverage, as Marty was telling you, we had rain earlier today, and that pushed back the qualifying schedule for NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying to 3:40, a little bit after 3:40 Eastern time. They did have one practice session, guys, and we're able to see Mark Martin and some of the guys, Juan Pablo Montoya quick. Now, what are the keys? With minimal practice, what are the keys to getting a good couple laps of qualifying in here at Martinsville?
If I knew that, I may still be trying to qualify these things. This was one of the most difficult places for me to ever get a handle on qualifying. You get so jacked up as a driver, and the thing that you honestly cannot do here as a driver is to overdrive the corners. Into turn 1, you lock up the brakes, then you're going to be history. Same thing into turn 3, you can get the car to wheel hopping, then you're out of control. So you have to be really careful with that. But if you don't do that, if you can get a smooth entry into the corner, then get back to the throttle extremely quick, you can have a pretty decent lap around here.
Yeah, and this track really is about the driver. It's a lot about doing that qualifying. But the car, what you can do with the race car is you can help the driver by helping the tires get up to temperature quickly, because it's a very short track that qualifying doesn't take very long, so you don't have a lot of time to heat the tires up. So you try to put a setup in there that'll get the most grip as quickly as you can, and getting that tire pressure set to where it needs to be to run that fast lap, which is going to be their second laps here today. If you can get that tire pressure just right for that lap, that's how you get the fastest out of your race car.
Okay, Andy, thank you. Here's Joey Logano. He is the first car to go out. Remember, it's about a lap and 3/4 warm-up because of where they come onto the racetrack, and now the 19-year-old rookie will take the green flag. Only his second ever start at this racetrack. He struggled here back in the spring, started 34th, finished 32nd, but boy, did he have a nice comeback last week at Lowe's Motor Speedway after an early miscue in the pits.
Yeah, he did a great job, and I was talking to Joey earlier, and he was really happy. He said he needs a lot more of those. He said it makes the week after those kind of races a lot more fun leading up to the next race.
He puts up a nice first lap at 1978. Here, getting into the rev limiter on the back stretch, that's always a good sign. You're listening for that from the pits to see how early it hits that chip, and the earlier, the faster he's going.
Yeah, and some of these guys will actually use that to get them off of the throttle. When they hit that chip, they'll actually put a chip in there that will get to maybe the point to where they want to get off the throttle and start their braking procedure so they don't overdrive the corner.
Let's go down to Shannon Spain.
Well, we heard Dave say at the start of the show that some drivers actually worked on practice you worked on race trim during practice earlier today. 43 laps you turned. How much of that was focused on qualifying and how much was focused on race trim?
Well, I think we made 2 or 3 qualifying runs, so we were able to get quite a bit of running in. We made 2, one longer run, and then we made some adjustments, just testing, trying some things from there. But pretty excited and happy with the DuPontNationalGuard.com Chevrolet. We love coming to Martinsville. Car was really good. Track changed a little bit, so I think we got some good notes, because it doesn't look like very promising for tomorrow's practice. But hopefully we will get some more practice in, and I'm really excited that we're getting a chance to qualify, because I think we've got a great shot at the pole.
And a good shot at that #1 pit stall, which everyone's going for. Doc?
Indeed, Shannon, thank you. A 7-time pole sitter and 7-time winner here, Jeff Gordon. Now, Kyle Busch, on the other hand, will be headed out to Memphis for tomorrow's nationwide race. Has struggled here, folks. He has not had a top 20 finish the last 3 times he has been to Martinsville Speedway.
Yeah, he does have 2 top 5 finishes, but none lately. It's been a big struggle here at Martinsville. He struggled a little bit in practice today, too, only 31st quick.
Yeah, I think we're going to see most of these guys pick up on their second lap. That's what happened in practice. Kyle actually picks up just a little bit.
Yeah, we saw that too from Logano. Just a little bit of a pickup on that second lap. I'm actually surprised how quick they can run on that first lap.
So a 20.006, that's the second lap for Kyle Busch in the 18 car. Next car to go out will be David Reagan, and they began the year with a top 10 finish and then just sort of struggled for the next 3.5 to 4 months. And finally, DJ, a couple of weeks ago at Kansas, this team suddenly turned it around and started running well again.
Yeah, something that they've hit on. And of course, unfortunately for them, the entire Roush organization has been off a lot during the entire year. But David and Jimmy Fitting and this group with their UPS Ford have had some good runs the last 3 weeks, and so it looks a lot more promising. And this is a track that he's also done well at recently also. So I know he was looking forward to getting in here and seeing what they could do this weekend.
See Jimmy Finnick there looking on. When David Reagan first came to Martinsville, he was an aggressive race car driver. In fact, so aggressive, some of the veterans were pretty angered by him, and they labeled him a dart without feathers.
I think that was Tony Stewart that gave him that label, but he's since overcome that. It's just a really tough racetrack. The one thing I like about it as a crew chief, though, just like you see Jimmy Finnick, he's able to watch this. You see he blocked that left front tire up. You get an up-close view of the race car. I mean, it's not like being in a mile-and-a-half track. You can really see what's going on with the car, and you can help diagnose a lot of what it's doing just from watching it, how much wheel he's got in it, and whether it's spinning the tires or not.
David Reagan's lap is right now second quickest overall of the 3 cars that are gone, and right now it is the kid from Connecticut, Joey Logano, atop the speed charts.
NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying, brought to you by Goodyear. Innovative technology to help you get there.
Great tailgate party, huh, Duke? Duke?
Excuse me.
What?
I'm from the Tailgate Research Institute. Are those Bush's baked beans?
Wouldn't tailgate without them.
Excellent.
Bush's baked beans are slow cooked with a blend of spices. So whether you're serving sizzling hot dogs at home or juicy brats at the stadium, nothing goes with game day like Bush's baked beans.
It's official. Bush's baked beans are a game day hit.
And no one recognized you.
Jay, I'm a master of disguise.
Home or away, nothing goes with a big game like Bush's baked beans.
We don't have a $5 foot-long or a fancy jingle, but at CiCi's, we have a 24-foot-long endless buffet of pure deliciosity. And for 2 weeks, it's only $4.99. That's a $4.99 24-foot-long to you, friend.
I may be in my pajamas right now, but I'm not going to bed. I'm going to college online. Education Connection will connect you to the right online college for free.
Log on now to TudeEducationToday.com. That's TudeEducationToday.com.
The nation's premier college football show.
The cupcake games are over.
Tomorrow, Game Day travels to Provo, Utah for a Mountain West showdown between undefeated TCU and BYU. We touch on some of college football's most symbolic pregame rituals.
That's what makes college football the greatest game of all, is tradition and pageantry.
And why one tackle is simply not enough against Alabama running back Mark Ingram. ESPN College Game Day, built by the Home Depot. Tomorrow at 10 a.m. on ESPN.
With Comcast Digital Preferred and the Sports Entertainment Package, NFL fans get every touchdown from every game every week throughout the season. Watch 120 NFL games in heart-pounding HD. Get on-demand recaps of every game with the NFL Network. And the NFL Red Zone just from game to game, catching the key moments from around the league live as they happen on the field every Sunday afternoon. Touchdown! Plus live fantasy stats and more. Order the Comcast Sports Entertainment Package today. Now with NFL Red Zone.
Live coverage, NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying. Elliott Sadler just completing his lap. He right now is third overall. His Dodge clocking in a little over 94.6 miles per hour. And here is Robbie Gordon, who just bumped him down to fourth. And Robbie now is third overall of the 5 cars that are gone. So it's Joey Logano, David Reagan, Robbie Gordon, Elliott Sadler, and Kyle Busch. Now, what about the 12 chase contenders that we had the one practice section? Where did they practice? Jimmy Johnson in the top 10. Mark Martin first overall in practice. Gordon right there, the 7-time winner. Tony Stewart was struggling a bit. And look at Juan Pablo Montoya, second quickest in that session. Here's Mark Martin, the 3-time pole winner. Although Mark has not run the fall race here because of running a limited schedule the last couple of years, he has not run this fall race since 2006.
I'm betting he hadn't forgotten how to do it, though. Like you said, he was fastest in practice. Gets the rev limiter up the backstretch. He's got a good lap going here. Get back to the throttle off of turn 4.
Very nice.
And that will make him the quickest thus far at a 1962. That was a good year.
Yeah, it's just a little quicker than he ran in practice. Now he's going to try to pick it up the second lap.
Yeah, a little wheel spin off of turn 2. I don't think he had to get out of the throttle, but obviously when you don't have that maximum grip, it's costing you time.
Yep, and this might be the first car that slows down on that second lap, and it is. Just a little bit. Mark Martin's first lap is the fastest.
68 seconds. Nice job, bud. Good car. Good car.
Let's check in where Dave is caught up with Joey Logano.
And Doc, as we were standing here, Joey and I both kind of knew that Mark Martin might have something for his initial fast lap, but you had first draw too, Joey. Did that affect you at all?
It was kind of whatever on the draw deal, you know. I was just trying to get you an interview before you went out there, so at least I can have a poll interview. But yeah, it seems like the Farm Field Insurance Toyota's it's pretty good. You know, it's a big pickup either way. I know hopefully that keeps it in the top 10, but we'll see. But it's a big pickup either way from what we had in practice, so we'll take it.
Joey Logano making his second start here at Martinsville this weekend, guys.
Thank you, Dave. Here's Dale Earnhardt Jr., and he was very good in the only practice session. He was 4th overall. We told you that twice in the last 5 races here. This Dale Earnhardt Jr., this driver here, has led the most laps.
Got a good lap going here. He rolled the center of the corner of 1 and 2 real well. Looks like he may have slipped just a little bit off the corner, but first lap is a 1976. 3rd quickest.
Yeah, let's see if he's able to get off of the corners. That's where he got beat. He's carrying a lot of speed once again, just as you pointed out, Andy, but that's not translating into getting off of the corner quite as well.
He's never won a pole here. He started on the front row, though, twice. And a little bit slower that time by. So right now he will sit 3rd of the 7 cars that have gone out.
Pretty impressed the way he rolled the center of the corner, though. He was faster than Mark Martin in both ends of the corner.
Pretty bad.
That'll pay off in the race.
Talk about a team that really needs to be able to finish one out. And after all they've hustled through the chase and had trouble in the second half. How about this Hendrick Motorsports domination? I don't know what else you can say about it, but domination here at Martinsville. They've won 10 of the last 13 races. And look how they've divvied them up there. Jimmy Johnson 6 and Jeff Gordon 4.
And just what he's done at this racetrack is incredible. Only 6 times ever. Now we're talking about 33 races at Martinsville as he finished outside of the top 10.
That's why I picked him to win this week.
Yeah, that's a good reason. 2002 was the last time that he did finish out of the top 10.
So you're picking Jeff Gordon to beat Superman at Martinsville, huh?
Well, I mean, everybody else is going to pick Jimmy Johnson. I couldn't do that.
Well, Jeff has not finished worse than 5th here in the last 9 races. I mean, if he runs this race and finishes it, he's into the top 5.
I told him when I saw him down in the garage areas, he'll lock in 2nd right now. I was going to put a little extra pressure on him this week. He was my choice to win, so not to let it get to him.
Not like you needed any more pressure.
No.
2nd overall, first time by for Jeff
He's
Gordon.
in the green. Here we go.
And can he beat Mark Martin for the pole?
Yeah, you're right, Jeff. It is, but not by a lot.
Woo! Nice lap, man. 19.619. P1 right now. Woo! Yes!
How can you feel that in the car? He's saying he knew he had that pole coming.
Well, you know when you get that grip through the center, you roll fast through the center. If you can get back and hammer the throttle, then you know it. That's all that you had. It might not be quite good enough, but you know as a driver that's what you had. And that's fun when you can do that.
That would be his first pole if it holds up of the year. We've got lots of motorsports coming your way. We'll have practice from NASCAR Sprint Cup Series cars tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Happy hour coverage coming your way at 6:30 Eastern Time. And, of course, on Sunday, live flag-to-flag coverage on ABC, presented by Goodyear. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series at Martinsville at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. NASCAR Nationwide Series final practice at Memphis. That's coming up next at the conclusion of our qualifying coverage. And, of course, qualifying tomorrow at 10:45 a.m. Eastern Time from Memphis. And the race flag-to-flag, 3 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN2. Randy LaJoie, Rusty Wallace, Marty Reed, and all the gang. Of course, NASCAR Now, Sunday morning, pre-race edition, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Here's Kevin Harvick in the 29 car. Kevin, pretty good on flat racetracks where he grew up out in Bakersville, California. Let's see what he can do as far as getting a Richard Childress car in the top 5.
Oh, he slips big time coming off 4.
It's a really fine balance. That first lap is good enough for fourth, but here's such a fine line of getting that car to turn through the center but have enough forward bite left to get you off of the corner.
Let's go down to Shannon Spake.
Well, down here with the man who finished second here earlier this season, and if you're putting money on this race, you definitely want to take a look at the 11. He's always great on short tracks, but Jeff Gordon just turned one heck of a lap. Do you guys have something for him here in qualifying?
Maybe. We'd have to pick a couple tenths from where we were in practice, and that's feasible. I mean, we were in traffic for our lap, but we're just gonna have to see what we got. Our FedEx Freight car, we spent a lot of time in race trim, so we really didn't concentrate that much on qualifying. So right now, a top 10, we'd be happy with that considering how much effort we put into qualifying.
And Denny Hamlin is also our in-race reporter this weekend, so if you want to listen in on his radio and talk to him during the race, we'll be doing it, guys.
Here's Mark. Thank you very much, Shannon. Here's Marco Ambrose, and he got right against that curb trying to come off the corner.
Yeah, you want to be as close as possible to that curb, but you don't want to hit it, and that really hurts your lap time. He did bump up against that curb.
Only has one previous start here. That was back in the spring of this year. He started 24th and had a respectable finish. Finished 14th on the lead lap.
Yeah, that's a much better lap for 1 and 2 there. He got close, but it hugged right around that. Anytime you hit that curve, you're going to lose time. He's got a much better lap going here.
And a little bit better that time, Andy.
Yeah, he picks it up to 8, but that's a little disappointing compared to where he practiced. He practiced in the top 10 in the 8th spot.
Let's go down and visit with Mark Martin. Dave.
And he bettered his fast practice time. Doc, Mark, did you leave anything on the table out there?
Well, yeah, I did. I slipped on my second lap there. I dialed some rear brake into it. It was too much. The last run we made, it needed it. And then I think we got the car a little bit better. The car was phenomenal. And I got that quick lap, I think, on the first time lap, and should have been able to get a quicker second lap, but I got the rear wheels bouncing going into one, and it's great. Awesome run. Pretty cool to run that fast on that first lap, Great race car. It'll be a decent starting spot.
Not the pole, but it will be a good starting spot up front, guys.
Should be fun to watch Mark up there, see if he can close in on Jimmy Johnson. Here's Casey King coming off that third-place finish at Lowe's Motor Speedway last week. He has one top 5 and 11 starts here at Martinsville, that being a second-place finish back in the spring of 2005.
That first lap is good enough for 7th. If he can pick up a little bit. I really thought that we were going to see at least a 10th of a second pickup from a lot of these guys, but that really hasn't been the case. Even a few times we've seen that first lap beat.
Yeah, you see the same thing here. Casey King slows down just a little bit on that second lap, but he wasn't anywhere near the curve. We were talking about how you want to be on the bottom of the racetrack. That 9 car was up quite a bit off that curve.
We might mention that Sam Hornish Jr. was scheduled to go out here early on, and he's had to go to a backup car, so he's been excused. How about a couple of Hendrick guys talking over their qualifying runs? What do you think they're saying here, DJ?
I don't know, but if Mark Martin's ever going to have to listen to somebody somewhere about a racetrack, that's a good man to be talking to right here at this place.
Well, 2 Hendrick drivers talking about their laps after having run qualifying, and the guy they're chasing in the points and for the championship, Jimmy Johnson on the racetrack.
Yeah, they're standing there like they're talking and not going to pay attention to what Jimmy Johnson does. But I can assure you they'll perk up about now when he takes the green flag.
Well, he was 9th quickest in practice, the only practice session. Let's see what he can do. He's got to beat a 19.619 second lap to beat Jeff Gordon for the pole.
I'll tell you, that's going to be a tall order to beat that lap Jeff Gordon put down. You go out there and really try too hard, then it's going to be easy to find yourself losing a tenth and a half, and as close as times are, that could be quite a few spots. That'd be 7th quickest on that first lap.
I really studied Jimmy Johnson in practice. I watched him run lap after lap in race trim, and just, he's like a machine out there, but not able to really lay down this fast lap. And you see right here, it's going to be a decent lap. It's not going to be where he wants to be in qualifying. He picks up just a little bit, but he stays 7th fastest overall.
But I will say this.
Good effort there, bud. Good effort. 1977.
Let's talk with Jeff.
You're kidding me.
Dave.
And Jeff Gordon watched the lap and could not be bested, so far still a pole. Good race car, I take it.
Well, you know, when you have your teammates go ahead of you like that and then one right behind you and you know how fast they are, for us to be sitting number one, even though we've gone early right now, is a great feeling. Really excited about this DuPontNationalGuard.com Chevrolet and how it's been performing today. But we got a few more bullets to dodge before this thing's over, but I'm real happy with the lap. Not a whole lot more I felt like I could have done to improve. So, you know, of course, there's always little things, but I'm real happy with it. And the fact that Mark ran as solid a lap as he did, you know, and it was a good lap, and we were able to up that just a tiny bit because he's been kicking our tails every weekend in qualifying. So I feel pretty good right now. We're just waiting to see.
For 8 poles with Darrell Waltrip, all-time most poles in Martinsville Speedway history. Here's Brian Vickers out for his qualifying run.
Yeah, he's fighting to get all that he can out of this. That's 8th quickest right there. But you can see Brian really having to work the wheel in the center and off of the corner.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a little bit too much wheel in the center of the corner, making the car push a little. You know, the car is pushing. That's why he's got the wheel in it. And then off the corner, he's losing the back end. That's just fighting a setup that's not quite right.
That is still a lot faster than he ran in practice when he was back at 22nd overall. Let's go down and visit with Jeff Burton. Shannon.
Well, if home field advantage counts for anything, watch the 31 team. Jeff Burton, of course, a Virginia native. I see you watching the screen here. What is the key to getting around this track so fast?
I think this is the hardest racetrack we go to qualify. It's it's real hard to get into a rhythm here in 2 laps. The brakes are cold versus practice they're hot. This is a really tough qualifying lap. So to me, it's about just getting in a rhythm as quickly as you can. The car is going to be a little different than it was in practice, and learn what you need to do with your car as quickly as you can, because the laps go by quickly here and there's very little time to adjust.
And the team will be getting in a rhythm with a new crew chief next week, Doc. It'll be Todd Barrier on top of the pit box calling the shots for this 31 team starting in Talladega.
Pretty excited about the shuffle going on there at RCR. Jeff Burton, by the way, won here in 1997 driving for Jack Roush. Here is a Roush Fenway car. Boy, and he jumps in the brakes there.
Not good. That can hurt your lap a lot. Not just that lap, but it can hurt your next one, too, if you put a flat spot on that left front tire.
Yeah, and that's the slowest of our cars so far. I was talking to Carl down there, too. He wanted to assure me and everyone else that was some speculation out there that he intentionally blew that engine up in that car last week. He said, you know, the car wasn't good. He said, obviously would never do something like that. But he was a little bothered that people that would even consider that would be something that he would do. But they have struggled, and he picks it up a little bit here to the 10th quickest time on that second lap.
I think one reason people say that is when you're having a good day and you're out there leading, that's when the engine will usually blow up.
That's right, yeah.
It'll hardly ever blow up when you're having a bad day like Carl was last week.
So a pretty good comeback for Carl in that second lap here to put him in the top 10. He was actually 34th overall in the practice session.
Just what we saw Carl do is what I always fought here and found it so difficult. As I would stand and watch others kind of do the same thing, and I would tell myself when I got in the car I was not going to do that, and invariably you'd go out there and do it. I can probably count on 2 fingers the time that I went out and picked up my time from practice to qualifying as a driver here, and you always like to think that you're good for a 10th or 2 as a driver, and I usually was, but it was the wrong way. And just as Jeff Burton was pointing out, this is a difficult place, and there's Matt Kenseth locking him up going into the corner too.
It really is such a fine line, and trying to get the most out of the brakes is so important to run a fast lap here. And there is, you get in that corner and you lock that wheel up, it really does hurt the lap. So it's really hard to get that feel and get that temperature in the tires that you need to be able to, so that left front tire will hold that braking power.
Here's the Daytona 500 winners. First lap, Matt Kenseth right now 11th overall at a 1988. Let's see if he can pick that up.
Doesn't look like it. Yeah, not with that second one. It looked like it might have been going a little bit better until you could see he slid the tire again. And as he got off the brakes, car went up the racetrack and he was out of the groove.
So he will find himself out of the top 10 with a lot more cars yet to qualify. We mentioned the 77 car of Sam Hornish had an issue in the morning practice session. He's getting ready to go out on his backup car. Let's watch and listen to what happened to him in this morning's session. You could hear that wheel hop as he was coming down into turn 1. You hear the sort of the chattering, and he just backed it in the wall.
That's a horrible feeling and sound as a driver, I can tell you. And it's easy to do here. The transitions into the corners, They're better than they used to be, but because of trying to get the cars to turn in the center, these guys will dial in a little more rear brake, but you have to be careful not to overdrive it.
Well, that's what you're trying to do. You saw them lock that left front wheel up, and what you're trying to do is to balance that out. So you put it to the rear, and if you go to the other side of that line, it's the rear, and the rear wheel's locking up, and when they do that, they hop. And when they hop, you have no traction whatsoever.
Yeah, you can see as we go down the straightaway here, that's asphalt that you're on right now. And right about here, as you're braking hard, you're going into concrete. They actually moved that down a little bit further when they redid these corners with the concrete surface. So it's better than it was, but it's still something that you have to adjust to as a driver.
This is the backup car. We mentioned you saw the primary car covered up there with all the back end damage on it. Sam making his second full year of racing here in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series. Made a pretty good adjustment on the speedways, but I guess learning to come from IndyCar to a short track is quite a challenge.
He did pick it up to 11th quickest that second lap.
Now watch the skid marks here as he comes by. Look at that. Look at dots on the racetrack.
Yeah, in between those dots are when the wheels are completely off the ground.
Wow. On the racetrack, another one of our chase contenders, the 2-car of Kurt Busch. Kurt is a former winner here. In fact, he has 4 top 10 finishes, but all of his win and his top 10 finishes all came driving the 97 car for Jack Roush. Since he has been in the 2-car, he has not had a top 10 finish at Martinsville.
Yeah, they've actually struggled, but they've had a great chase so far. They're averaging an 8th place finish, even though they're losing ground to the leader, Jimmy Johnson. But they've done a really good job to this point. But this is an important race for them to keep those championship hopes alive.
Kurt, one of only 2 drivers, he mentioned how well he's done in a chase. He and Jimmy Johnson, the only 2 drivers to have led laps in all 5 chase races this year.
See if he's going to be able to pick it up just a little bit. The first lap being 15th. Doesn't look like it's going to be as good.
Now he actually slows down.
A bit of a disappointment for these guys. 15th out of 17 cars.
It's going to be an uphill battle on Sunday for this team.
When we heard Shannon talk earlier, you qualify towards the back part of the field. You're literally a half lap down, and it's so difficult to pass because the competition is so tight this day and time that it just makes you a long day. So you have to do some real good pit strategy and be pretty fortunate to get yourself up front.
Here comes our in-race reporter, getting his tires up to temperature. You see him weaving the car back and forth, using this warm-up lap to his advantage. This is a guy that I've got picked as the winner this week.
So DJ's picking the 24 and you got the 11.
Yeah, we'll see how it works out here.
All right.
DJ's man's on top right now.
Well, back in the spring, folks, it was the 11 car, Denny Hamlin, that led 296 laps. In fact, Jimmy Johnson had to sort of root him out of the way with 16 laps to go to win the race. So there's still a little bit of discussion going on.
You think Jimmy and Chad, if they're happening to sitting in the truck watching this bit of qualifying, think, what are those 2 idiots think?
Yeah, I agree.
That they're not going to pick us. They're going to pick Denny Hamlin and Jeff Gordon as we win all of these races. But we just have to make it interesting, guys.
That's just tugging on Superman's cape right there, boys. First time by, Denny Hamlin, 8th overall.
Come on, going to have to pick it up.
We talked about the little bump down there in the spring. Jimmy Johnson said that he was down on the curb and couldn't go any lower, and that he got cut down on by Hamlin. Hamlin said it just moved him out of the way. So it's depending upon who you talk to.
I tell you, in watching Denny Hamlin, he does pick it up just a little bit, but still the 8th spot. But racing with him and watching him race here, he is really smooth on his entry to the corner, and that's why I think he races so well here.
Here's what happened back in the spring. 16 laps to go, and there they are in the corner. Hamlin is leading. Johnson gets under him and would take the lead. Johnson would go on and win the race here, and Hamlin would finish 2nd. And as they said in the garage area, race drivers don't get mad, they get even.
That was just good short track racing right there.
Yeah, he was trying to be smooth getting into that corner. Jimmy just wouldn't let him.
All right, here's Juan Pablo Montoya. He has been obviously the surprise of the chase in terms of what they have been able to do with consecutive top 5 finishes in 4 of the 5 races, and now he was 2nd in practice earlier today.
Yeah, let's see how he does this. He obviously doesn't have a lot of attempts qualifying here, only 5 races, but they had a fast car in practice. If he can back that up, that'll be a big feather in their cap to start this weekend.
It really is tough to qualify here. You go out there with those tires completely cold. It's not like practice where everything's kind of warmed up. Even though you put new tires on, you still all the brakes are warm. You got a lot of heat in the car. You go out here stone cold. It's really hard to get this car up to speed in just 2 laps here.
It's amazing. I've gotten in before here and talked to other drivers too. As you can see, it's a little loose through that corner right there. But it's just like, where did my race car go? What happened? This isn't the car that you guys gave me in practice.
That's about 2/10 slower than what he ran in practice. And right now, Juan Pablo Montoya, 9th overall. Jeff Gordon atop the charts.
Blake, let's get rolling, man. What's the holdup?
What's up, Brooke? Can't keep up?
Seriously? Blake, I promise you we're done. Come on, man.
Fun's over. Come on, Blake. Come on.
Let's go.
Wednesday, the NBA season tips off with a stellar doubleheader on ESPN.
Oceans of shrimp are now at Golden Corral. For around $10, enjoy 10 endless premium dishes like our new shrimp scampi, lemon herb shrimp over tilapia, and tortellini with shrimp and lobster sauce.
Where else can you get all this for around $10?
Nowhere! Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
Tired of lugging out your heavy, bulky pressure cleaner? Introducing the amazing Water Jet. It turns your ordinary garden hose into a super power washer. Powerful enough to clean second-story windows without motors, gas, or electricity. Here's how it works. Water flows through the volume reduction chambers where pressure builds until a powerful jet stream blasts through the precision-engineered solid brass tip. The control valve regulates the water pressure. Great for siding, umbrellas, and awnings. Blast grime and weeds off brick and paver driveways. It attaches to any garden hose, so you can take it along boating and camping. The amazing Water Jet is only $19.95. But if you order now, as a bonus, you'll receive the solid brass fan tip that creates a powerful fan-shaped spray. Scour away mold, scrub wood decks and docks, patios and pool decks, cars and trucks. Dial back the pressure to gently water delicate flowers. One tool that does it all. Call now to get the jet.
To order Water Jet, call 1-800-936-0744. Order today and get the fan tip for free. Call 1-800-936-0744. Call now.
Get your career cooking. Literally. Call an affiliate of the Cordon Bleu Schools, North America. You can train as a culinary professional and work as a chef, pastry chef, restaurant manager, and more. Call now, and we'll send you this complimentary career guide.
Operators are standing by. Call 800-713-6094. That's 800-713-6094.
Call Consolidated Credit. They'll get the credit card companies to reduce or eliminate your interest.
Call 800-440-5217.
Consolidated Credit. When credit card debt is the problem, they're the solution.
Coverage of qualifying continuing here at Martinsville Speedway. Clint Boyer, who started third here in the spring, right now is ninth as his Chevy went out to qualify. He got a little rubbing against the concrete here. Now his teammate Jeff Burton will go out. See what he can get done in the 31 car.
See if Jeff can, he picks it up on the second lap. That gets him up to the 11th spot.
Heard Shannon talk to Jeff, who's from nearby South Boston, Virginia. Had that emotional first win here back in 1990 in the Nationwide car, and also won here in 97 in the Cup car. Here's the contact we told you about with Clint Boyer during his qualifying lap.
Just a little love tap. So Kevin Harvick trying to get the most out of his car qualifying. Comes up off the corner just a little bit too hard. And Zach, same spot.
Let's check in where Shannon is caught up with Ryan Newman.
Ryan Newman just dropping into his 39 car. He's got a little Army guy on the front on board for this U.S. Army number 39. Now, Ryan, I know that brakes are so important here at Martinsville. What is the key to balancing between getting on the brakes and getting on the gas?
Just really how you decel, and the throttle too is a big part of it, because the engine is a big brake in itself. So there's a part of it that's just the engine braking in addition to the brake pedals. So timing those two things in reference to the asphalt and the concrete and how your car's balanced and the proportioning that you have front to rear of your car is extremely important.
Sounds easy, right, guys? Just do that twice in a half-mile track 500 times.
Wow, 500 at each end for 500 laps, 1,000 times for the race on Sunday. That's you got to be in good shape here. There's Reed Swords on the left side of your screen.
Great first lap, fourth quickest. If he can pick it up here, looks like he's going to slow up just a little on this second lap, but a great first lap puts him in the top 5 so far.
Will be by far his best ever qualifying lap here in Martinsville Speedway in Virginia.
Yeah, you heard Ryan Newman talking about the engine being a big brake, and it is. I used to measure that on the chassis dyno. We would measure it in negative horsepower, and it's close to 200 horsepower negative when you let off the throttle, that the rear tires are actually pulling back. So that's why it's so easy to lock those rear wheels up.
We invite you to join us Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock Eastern Time, live flag-to-flag coverage. It is race number 6 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. Jimmy Johnson has won 5 of the last 6 races we have run here at Martinsville Speedway. Our coverage beginning at 1 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC. NASCAR Sprint Cup action presented by Goodyear. '26 car Jamie McMurray, and Jamie normally runs this racetrack very, very well. He's qualified well in the past and basically hung in the top 10 for much of the day.
He started on the front row 3 times here.
Yeah, and actually finished 10th here earlier this year. I know that would be more than welcome right at this point in time for the Roush organization.
There's the boss looking on.
Still a lot of speculation as what Jamie's going to do in 2010. A lot of people believe he'll head over to the 1 car for Earnhardt Ganassi. Truex is vacating. First 2 laps for McMurray, and he puts him just outside the top 10.
Yeah, he picks up just a little bit on that second lap, just about a 0.5 of a second.
Next car to qualify, the 98 car of Paul Menard. DJ, you were talking about, you and Andy both were talking about how difficult it is to be able to get a good smooth lap here, and that you can go faster if you can get out of the brakes earlier. That's got to be hard to do for a driver when you want to hustle it into the corner.
Yeah, it really is. You just get, again, so pumped up to qualify. You want to go out here and give it all that you got, and you know, it's just a short track, and you want to drive it down in and get on the brake and make it stop. It's just so hard to make it all happen. I think, somebody that taught Dale Earnhardt one time, Jimmy Hensley got in his car. I can remember that. It seems like that was back in the late 90s that he got in the car and qualified it on the pole.
Yeah, it was in actually the early 90s before I came over, but that was one thing. Earnhart was such a hard driver. It was almost hard to harness him back for qualifying. He would try to get that extra 2 tenths, and I don't know how many times he would try to overdo it, and we'd end up starting in the back, but he'd pass them all back and get us a top 5 finish or better.
Yeah, I came here and tested one time and just worked on that. The last half of the day, we just worked on qualifying. I picked me out a spot where I was going to let off and got in qualifying and still couldn't do it. So sometimes it overrides you. Paul Menard clocks in 20th fastest on that first lap.
Still looking for that first top 10 finish in 2009.
24 cars have gone right now. It is Jeff Gordon and Mark Martin sharing row 1.
It was always a dream of mine to be out here. You can get overawed by the lights, the cameras, the people. The more you think about something, the more pressure you're putting on yourself. The guys that are out here are so good that you can't realize it until you actually get out here.
When I figured that I did have the tools to actually do it,
it's what I've dreamt of my whole life.
It's a whole new level.
That's what Sundays are for.
Watch the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour, Sunday at 1 p.m. on ESPN.
From the track to the woods to podiums everywhere. The Yamaha YFZ 450R for the track and new YFZ 450X for the woods. They're the ultimate win-win.
What a great event to drive to.
Especially on new Fuel Max tires.
Introducing Goodyear Fuel Max tires. An innovative tread compound saves you 2,600 miles worth of gas over the life of the tires.
2,600 miles.
Now that would be a long race.
Goodyear. Get there.
Oceans of shrimp are now at Golden Corral. For around $10, enjoy 10 endless premium dishes like our new shrimp scampi, lemon herb shrimp over tilapia, and tortellini with shrimp and lobster sauce.
Where else can you get all this for around $10? Nowhere!
Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
If you're in debt to the IRS for $10,000 or more, you don't have to take desperate measures to settle your account. All you have to do is put the right people to work for you, and that's as simple as calling this number. You'll speak to a tax expert who can help you negotiate a settlement that's significantly less than the actual amount you owe.
They saved my business.
I owed $30,000 and paid a fraction of it.
Call this number and get your case settled for less. Now, you only have a small window of time to settle, so act now.
Very good qualifying effort for Casey Mears. This would be his best start of the year right now. He is third quickest with a 19.71 second lap. His previous best start was 7th at Bristol back in August, and coming off that good 7th place finish at Lowe's Motor Speedway last Saturday night. Here's a 00, David Rudeman. He was very good in the only practice session, guys.
Very good so far in this run, too. He's tracking third. 1970. Oops.
Try to get a little more there off of turn 2.
A little bit greedy off of 2.
But that's what you have to do. You just have to stand in the gas and hope that you've got it pointed in the right direction and the rear tires hook up. After he had that first lap in the books, it allowed him to be able to go after it a little harder there. Slows down just a little bit.
5th in practice or a 3rd in qualifying. Well, lots of motorsports to come your way. Of course, practice here tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern time for NASCAR Sprint Cup Series on ESPN2. We'll also have later in the day happy hour coverage at 6:30 Eastern time, and then live flag-to-flag coverage of the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series race presented by Goodyear here at Martinsville, beginning with NASCAR Countdown, 1 o'clock Eastern time on ABC. For the NASCAR Nationwide Series, final practice at Memphis that is coming up next on ESPN2. We'll have qualifying tomorrow morning at 10:45 a.m. and then flag-to-flag coverage of the Nationwide Series race tomorrow at 3 Eastern time. Marty Reed, Rusty Wallace, Randy LaJoy, and all the group over there in Memphis, Tennessee. NASCAR Now, the pre-race edition. We will set the stage here for what's going to happen on Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. Here's the one car of Martin Truex Jr. out to see what he can do and maybe get this car in the top 10.
He's got a pretty decent lap if he can get off of turn 4 here pretty good. Clock in 12th. It's just such a tight field. I mean, from the 3rd spot at David Rudeman to right there to 12th is just a 1/10 of a second.
Well, that's the way it's always been these short tracks. It's unbelievable, really, how close together you can see 40-some cars qualify.
Right there at it. Oh, just does miss the pole.
Killer 1 and 2, P2.
And he did just miss the pole, just about not even a 100th of a second.
That will equal his best start ever here at Martinsville. He started 2nd here back in the fall of 2007, if it holds up. Let's check in with Reed Sorensen. Dave.
Yeah, he's getting tired of watching guys nudge him down the running here. But a good lap for you. How tough is it to go out there and bust off a couple of laps on cold tires?
Well, it's tough here. You gotta, your brakes aren't hot, or your tire pressures aren't hot, or your tires aren't hot. So I've always had a car that could run a good lap in practice, and you get to qualify and you either overdrive it or underdrive it. And it's tough not to cross the line on either side. So you got to hit it just right and not make the tires mad, and just kind of roll faster than you do in race trim. So we had a good car in qualifying trim. It was good as soon as we put it in Q trim this morning. And guys worked real hard. We made a few changes and picked up a little time from practice. So I'm going to go back inside because when I came back out here, I've lost 3 spots already. So we're pretty happy with that. We think it'll be in the top 10, maybe top 15. But that's always good starting here at Martinsville to kind of get away from all the beating and banging that's in the middle of the pack on. So we're happy to be where we're at.
All right, thanks, Reed. Doc?
How about a new pole sitter, guys? Ryan Newman, the Rocket Man, right now has put his Chevy on the pole. And the first of 2 laps is complete of 19. What a lap for Newman, 19.563.
Well, he smoked him. I'll tell you that. Jeff Gordon had a great lap to beat right there, and he did it. 19.56.
Well, he's already a 2-time pole winner here at Martinsville. It could be 3 after this day is done.
We don't have a $5 foot-long or a fancy jingle, but at CC's, we have a 24-foot-long endless buffet of pure deliciosity. And for 2 weeks, it's only $4.99. That's a $4.99 24-foot-long to you, friend.
Precision handling, high-performance braking, smooth and comfortable ride. Tame the road, Hankook tires. BCS contenders Texas and USC are put to the test in a night of critical conference showdowns. Saturday Night Football on ABC. Presented by Southwest Airlines, Texas, Missouri, or Oregon State USC. Tomorrow at 8 Eastern. College football lives here.
In 1977, an 8-year-old boy picked up the game of golf from his father. The odds of that same boy then making it to the US and European Pro Golf Tours? 1 in 7 million. The odds of the Big Easy winning the US Open twice? 1 in 1.2 billion. The odds of him having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 150. Ernie Els encourages you to learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Attention, Progressive shoppers! Check out our pet injury coverage. When Progressive covers your car, we cover your pet at no extra charge. Oh, that's a cat.
Protecting your pet. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today.
With Progressive, getting the right insurance is simple. Check us out online.
Or talk to a local independent agent like me. There's one of us near you.
Either way, shopping is easy.
Jinx.
Double jinx.
Shop on your terms. Prices vary based on how you buy.
A.J. Allmendinger backing up what he ran in practice. In fact, he had a very good practice effort. Now 13th overall here with his Dodge, qualifying just behind Jimmy Johnson. You've done something when you qualify between Jimmy Johnson and Denny Hamlin, which is right now where A.J. Allmendinger sits on the starting grid. Here's David Stremme in the Penske Dodge.
Another driver looking for a ride next season. First lap is in the top 10, 1974. A lot of 70s. See 70s from 5th all the way back to 14th. Actually back to 15th.
David Stremme's best starting spot here at Martinsville was 13th back in the fall of 2006. And he will certainly improve on that. Right now, that will put him in the top 10 at 10th. Let's go down and visit with a driver who sits third right now on the grid, Dave.
And Doc, if all you looked at was the practice sheet from earlier today, you wouldn't have counted him anywhere near the front, but I'm sure you knew it was going to be better than that, right, Martin?
Well, you always hope it is, you know. We had a good practice. We ran race trim throughout the whole thing, you know, because of the weather looking bad tomorrow. And this is a brand new car the guys built to bring here, so they worked hard on it, did a good job. And we only did one qualifying run of practice, and it wasn't very good. So made a stab at it, and Bono hit it right. And it was a good lap. It wasn't a great lap, but real happy with it.
Good stab, Doc.
A great effort by Martin Truex. And here's a driver, Greg Biffle, who was not very good in practice. He was 38th overall and really trying to hustle this car and try to maybe get it to top 15 at best in a starting spot.
Yeah, and to say this is not one of his best tracks, that's a huge understatement. One top 10 finish in his 13 starts so far.
Yeah, I was talking to some of the crew guys down there this morning, and they said that they practiced this car at Rockingham at the Little Rock track they've got out back and thought they had a pretty good car. I mean, they really felt like they had a better car than they did in the spring. 17th quickest on this first lap.
One of only two tracks that Greg Biffle has never had a top 5. The other one being the place we're going next week, Talladega. So not the good part of the chase for him. Maybe he can make up for it starting here this weekend. And a little bit slower second time by, but 17th is much better than probably he thought they would run when they were 38th in the morning practice session. Let's go down and talk with our provisional pole sitter, Dave.
That is Ryan Newman. Getting it done on a short track here today. Were you happy with that lap?
Yeah, I think I got everything out of it I could have. I tried to get more in the second lap, and it cost me. But a great lap for the U.S. Army Chevrolet. Tony Gibson, the guys have done a great job in the Hendrick horsepower. So we'll just see where we end up. But I'm pretty confident that I got all I could get out of it.
Yeah, here that overdriving thing can really just put you down, can it?
Well, after so many big tracks, you come to a short track, it's easy to overdrive it here.
All right, guys.
I think the secret there was the little Army man and the flag he had stuck in the cowl there before he went out. Everybody's going to want those now from now on to be able to get the car on the pole. Here's Bobby Labonte back in the 96 car, the Hall of Fame Racing Ford. This will be the final time this year he will drive this car, and starting next week he'll be back in the Kevin Buckler Chevy, the 71 car, for the remainder of the 2009 season.
This is a racetrack Bobby's done reasonably well at. I wouldn't say it's one of his all-time favorites if you talk to him, but he has had some success. That first lap will be 21st.
The second lap's going to be a lot better.
Bobby has a pole and a victory here. 6 top 5s, 13 top 10s in 33 starts. So you're right, DJ. He has run very well here.
Yeah, check it out. 8th quickest.
Wow. So he equals his best start of the year. Let's go down and visit with Casey Mears. Shannon.
Casey Mears, 6th on the speed chart right now. In this 07 team, I mean, you guys have come alive the last couple weeks. 7th place finish last week at Charlotte. Now, I know you have the crew chief change coming, something that is a little bit that wasn't anticipated, but how much momentum do you have right now going into the rest of the season?
You know, we'll see how it goes. Just really, really proud of what everybody's done, you know, up to this point. We've had a lot of fun these last few races, and, you know, we actually ran really well races before that, just little things happening where we're not getting the finishes that we needed. But it feels good to come to a place like Martinsville and back up, you know, kind of what we've been doing at the bigger tracks. So just been having a lot of fun. Hopefully we can get the Jack Daniels Chevrolet up front, keep it up front all day long, and have a good finish. And, you know, whatever happens after this, we'll just deal with it the best we can.
And Casey can absolutely get it done. He finished 6th here in this race last year.
He is getting it done for Richard Childress Racing, coming off that 7th place finish last week at Lowe's Motor Speedway. What a team player he's been, by the way, over at RCR. You're watching the 14 car. Tony Stewart qualified. Darian Grubb there, the crew chief, watching his Chevy that had struggled in practice. Tony was back in 39th on the morning practice sheets.
Yeah, but I think they did nothing but race runs in trying to get prepared with anticipation that tomorrow may get washed out as far as getting any practice. So this may be his first attempt at trying to get in a qualifying effort. And I think that you can certainly see that as he picks up quite a bit on his second lap up to the 13th spot.
When we come back, I'm going to ask Dale Jarrett and Andy Petrie what they would have done knowing that tomorrow may get washed out. Obviously, it worked okay here for Tony Stewart.
Why would any fun-loving, red-blooded All-American male give up watching football to upgrade his headlights? Because Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania are up to 50% brighter and let you see up to 40% farther and up to 50% wider. But more importantly, because it's easier to replace a couple of headlights than it is...
Thanks, Dad.
...a daughter. See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
Batter's up, and so is Jones, checking the sign to the men's room.
Not the first time. He's going over and over.
And Carter was in there a long time.
Stopping and starting. These guys should see their doctors.
Could be male urinary symptoms due to BPH, an enlarged prostate.
For many guys, prescription Flomax reduces their urinary symptoms due to BPH in 1 week. Only your doctor can tell if you have BPH, not a more serious condition like prostate cancer.
Avoid driving or hazardous tasks for 12 hours after your first dose or increase in dose, as a sudden drop in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting.
If considering cataract surgery, tell your eye surgeon you've taken Flomax.
Common side effects are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen.
Ask your doctor if Flomax is right for you.
For many men, Flomax can make a difference in 1 week.
Oceans of shrimp are now at Golden Corral. For around $10, enjoy 10 endless premium dishes like our new shrimp scampi, lemon herb shrimp over tilapia, and tortellini with shrimp and lobster sauce.
Where else can you get all this for around $10? Nowhere!
Golden Corral. Help yourself to happiness.
It's time to trade paint for position or have your chase dream smashed. Feel the 4-time champ and the Warhorse dial back the clock and look to shut the reigning champion down. The chase continues at Martinsville, Sunday at 1 Eastern on ABC.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our loyal fans for your continued support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.
NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying, brought to you by Sylvania. See farther, see wider, see better. Silver Star Ultra headlights from Sylvania.
NASCAR Sprint Cup qualifying continuing here at Martinsville Speedway in Virginia. John Andretti going out to qualify. John, of course, the winner here, driving for the King Richard Petty back in 1999. And he clocked in 25th, and right now it is a 55 car of Michael Waltrip on the racetrack. And Michael had a little bit of a shunt yesterday with a motorcycle rider down in Mooresville, North Carolina. Motorcycle rider was treated and released. Michael was making a U-turn about 5 miles an hour.
Oh, he's going to make another one right here if he's not careful.
And no harm, no foul, able to be get away from that one, and that will not give him a good lap in qualifying in 1993. Puts him 32nd overall.
Riding around right on the edge, spinning out.
That was definitely on the edge of spinning out. He did a nice job of not spinning out.
Actually, this is spinning out. Just didn't go all the way around. Man, look at this right here.
Wow.
See him laying a black mark coming off the corner.
Wow. Just bury it in the throttle, bury your foot in the throttle, and hold on, DJ, to try to get the...
That's about all you can do right there. You kind of, once you get it straight enough, you can now ease off the throttle, and obviously that's why the time slowed down quite a bit. But yeah, there's much hoping and praying at that point.
Here's Dave Blaney in the 66 car. See what he can do. Trying to get this car in the field. 44 cars here. 43 will start, so only one's not going to make it. And Dave, the first of the drivers that must get in on time and speed.
Only twice this year has he failed to get in. Las Vegas and then last week at Lowe's Motor Speedway. He is the slowest car to time trial so far in this session, though. Have to pick it up.
He was on 35th in practice, so by far he was not. He was about the 43 cars here, 44 cars here, so he had much better laps in practice in the Prism Motorsports Toyota. See if he can get it better, and he does a second time by.
Just barely breaks that 20-second barrier.
Yeah, I actually believe that'll probably be good enough to get him in the race.
That is faster than he actually ran in the practice session, this morning when he ran just over 20 seconds. We just joined our coverage. We had a rain shower here in the area this morning, which pushed our schedule back, so we had to delay qualifying. He had one practice session mid-morning, and qualifying did not get underway till a little after 3:40 Eastern time. And we will have coverage after our qualifying today from Memphis Motorsports Park for the NASCAR Nationwide Series drivers' final practice session. Marty Reed, Randy LaJoie, Rusty Wallace standing by. There's Josh Wise. Boy, he nailed that brake pedal just coming into one.
Well, this is his first attempt at making a cup start.
Wow,
very difficult place.
That's not the way to do it right there.
Especially a young guy coming here for the first time and trying to get in that first cup race. See, he's being compared to Dave Blaney's time right here now. So he's going to be about probably somewhere close to half a second off of Blaney's fastest lap.
And he is the slowest right now at 20.48. The good news for Josh, he's only got to beat one car. Right now, the bad news is he is the slowest car of all those that have gone out to qualify. And he was also the slowest in the morning practice session.
Well, you can see he's trying hard. Actually slows down on that second lap.
We invite you to join us for coverage on Sunday afternoon, 1 o'clock Eastern time. It is stop number 6 in the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup. NASCAR Sprint Cup action at Martinsville presented by Goodyear. Sunday, 1 o'clock Eastern time, beginning with NASCAR Countdown on ABC. Folks, Denny Hamlin has scored more short track points this season than any other driver. Remember, Hamlin dominated the race back here in April, but didn't win after being passed late by Jimmy Johnson. Can Hamlin get to victory lane, and can someone in the chase possibly catch Johnson? Show you where some of the chasers are thus far that have qualified. You see Jimmy Johnson right now back in 15th. Mark Martin. How about Jeff Gordon second right now in the front row? Ryan Newman. Could Ryan Newman maybe get to victory lane for the first time this year? Good run for Ryan Newman, the U.S. Army Chevrolet.
See, a lot of them are going to have to come from back in the pack, though, to make a good day of it.
See Travis Quappo out to qualify, the former Truck Series champion. DJ, is there a racetrack more difficult than this one in terms of having to work your way through traffic?
No, because the cars are so equal now, and the drivers obviously very talented, this is a tough place to pass. Even when you have a really good car, you can have a car that's literally 3 or 4 tenths faster than someone else, and you cannot get by them unless you just choose to run into them extremely hard and try to make that pass. So no, this is a difficult place to be back in traffic and find yourself there. You use up your car is the biggest concern. You back in there, if you're not careful, you'll use up the brakes and possibly the front end, knock the fenders in, and that can be create a very difficult problem for you for the rest of the day.
And Andy, someone like Kyle Busch right now sits back in 37th. He's the next to the slowest car here. That's got to be very difficult for a crew chief to decide on track position as opposed to fresh tires. Normally, he would take fresh tires at a lot of tracks.
Yeah, but you'll definitely opt for track position if you get a chance, just to try to dig yourself out of that hole, because just like Dale said, it is so hard on the race car to try to come from the middle of the pack. If you're up front, top 10 or so, you can sit there basically and kind of run your own race, back off the throttle a little bit early, save the brakes, roll the center of the corner. But when you got that leader bearing down on you from behind, you've got to start making something happen. You start using up the brakes, and like Dale said, using up the body, and it can make for a really long day.
Full contact stock car racing here at Martinsville Speedway. Always fun to watch. We'll have it for you at 1 o'clock on Sunday. David Gilliland will lock himself into the field on Sunday, as has the 37 car of Travis Quapple and the 66, also in of Dave Blaney.
Yeah, you see this, we're comparing to Josh Wise in that 73, and by the fact that he ran such a slow lap, you're going to see all these cars really far up in the green on this comparative graphic that we've got.
Right now it is Ryan Newman and Jeff Gordon the front row, Truex Martin and David Rudiman the top 5 as we continue with coverage of qualifying in a moment.
I like to ride motorcycles on the edge of control. I wouldn't say I'm wild, I just like to have fun. My accident was in October, and the first time I was back on a bike was middle of January. You know, just because you have an injury doesn't mean you should give up your lifestyle or your outlook on life and what you do to sustain life.
Dad, here, look at this. Your PAD isn't just poor circulation in your legs causing you pain.
Okay, what is it?
Dad, it more than doubles your risk of a heart attack or stroke. You better read about Plavix. If you have PAD, Plavix can help protect you from a heart attack or stroke. Plavix helps keep blood platelets from sticking together and forming clots, the cause of most heart attacks and strokes. Talk to your doctor about Plavix.
If you have a stomach ulcer or other condition that causes bleeding, you should not use Plavix. Taking Plavix alone or with some other medicines, including aspirin, may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor before planning surgery or taking aspirin or other medicines with Plavix, especially if you've had a stroke. Some medicines that are used to treat heartburn or stomach ulcers, like Prilosec, may affect how Plavix works. So tell your doctor if you are taking other medicines. If fever, unexplained weakness, or confusion develops, tell your doctor promptly. These may be signs of TTP, a rare but potentially life-threatening condition, reported sometimes less than 2 weeks after starting Plavix. Other rare but serious side effects may occur.
The Craftsman Auto Hammer. The hammer that goes where other hammers can't. Driving home nails with the touch of a button. Innovation, better value. Craftsman. Trust in your hands.
Oh, take one sign. I will obey your orders. Reach into your unguarded basket and only take one single caramel-filled bar. I will then go to the end of the block, turn around, and take just one again.
Life's better. The Milky Way.
Tuesday nights, the countdown to the final table is on. 27 players remain, eyeing a place in poker history. Who will move one step closer to $8.5 million? The World Series of Poker, Tuesday at 9 on ESPN.
Joe Nemechek, the latest car to qualify here. Front row Joe getting himself solidly in the field. 27th overall in qualifying as we continue here. And Michael McDowell on the racetrack. One of the drivers doing double duty this weekend. McDowell will be headed to Memphis, Tennessee, where we'll be heading after qualifying here to bring you live coverage of Happy Hour, final nationwide series practice from Memphis.
Yeah, you see him locking that left front tire up, get in the corner. He struggled with that in practice as well. Watched him quite a few laps there, and seemed like every time I looked over at the 36, he was locking up the left front, getting in the corner.
But he will get in the race.
Yep. Turns it is light green.
So he'll have a pretty busy weekend here going back and forth between Memphis and Virginia. So will you, because we're going to have a lot of coverage coming your way. We got NASCAR Sprint Cup practice tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Happy Hour coverage in the evening at 6:30 Eastern Time from here at Martinsville, Virginia on ESPN2. Then on Sunday on ABC at 1 o'clock Eastern Time. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series action presented by Goodyear, beginning with Alan Bestwick and the boys. NASCAR countdown at 1 o'clock. You want some nationwide coverage? How about final practice coming up in a few minutes at Memphis? That's coming up next on ESPN2. We'll have qualifying from Memphis tomorrow morning at 10:45 and the race at 3 o'clock Eastern Time, all on ESPN2. And on Sunday morning, we will set the stage to talk about all the stories surrounding the chase. 10 a.m. Eastern Time, NASCAR Now on ESPN2. '64 car, that is Derek Cope, the 1990 winner, the Daytona 500. Trying to get a start here at Martinsville, his first Cup start of the year here in Martinsville, Virginia.
That's just a little bit slower than what he practiced, but it's good enough to ensure that he will race on Sunday.
Yeah, after seeing the lap that Josh Wise ran, I'm sure that he could probably, be a little more conservative with this lap and not overdo it and make sure he's in the field.
So even quicker second time by for Derek Cope. And that'll leave 2 more cars yet to go in qualifying. That's Sterling Marlin and Scott Speed. There's Tony Stewart in the garage area. The guy's working to dial in his Chevy. Right now, Tony sits 13th on the speed charts. His teammate and the car he owns, Ryan Newman, on the pole. This would be Newman's 2nd pole of the year. Also won the pole back in May at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Tony over hanging out with some of Jeff Gordon's guys, and as well as Jeff Gordon has run here over the years, I'd hang out with them too.
Yeah, I would too. I'd hang right close.
Sterling Marlin, one of the favorites up here in the Virginia area. He's from Tennessee. Boy, he's had some good runs over the years in his career here. Just came so close to picking up a win here a few years ago down to the wire in what was a photo finish. We'll see what he can do driving for James Finch here today.
Yeah, looking at Tony over there, used to do that as a driver. Sometimes you wanted to see somebody else's car, especially if they had the hood up and things like that. You'd go over and act like you're looking at their monitor and things. But these cars are so complicated now and everything, it's really hard to tell anymore. But just a little way of walking by and hanging out.
I walked through there today and checked out a few of the Hendrick cars, picked up a few things.
That's a little sneaky, isn't it, though?
Well, I'm not racing against them.
Oh, I got you. I'm talking about what DJ was doing.
Oh, yeah, that is sneaky.
Do whatever you can do. They were looking at ours too when we were good. So,
all right, Sterling Marlin, he gets himself in the field, 37th overall out of 1997. So he'll be racing on Sunday in the 09. There's Tony Stewart. Now, what's he doing? Is he pretending he's looking at the monitor and he'll glance over and say, let's see what that's from?
I wonder if he's got his cell phone in his pocket. He's taking pictures of the front.
I'm pretty sure that his team has enough money that they have their own monitor. So you tell me what he's doing over there.
But he does have Hendrick cars and Hendrick engines, so you think he's got a little bit of engineering help from him as well, but maybe not everything that 24 car's got on it.
Yeah, you just hang out. There's probably a crowd around his over there next to him. And he just wandered down there. He might be wanting to talk to Jeff too, so he's just hanging out waiting for him to come back.
Maybe get some DuPont samples or something.
See how Jeff was able to put up that lap that he did.
Here's Scott Speed. Let's see what the rookie can do here in Martinsville. Get his car, his teammate Brian Vickers qualified 23rd.
He just needs a good solid lap here on this first lap, and he can get himself.
Yeah, he's got that.
Try to improve on that second lap.
That's 18th quickest so far. We'll switch over here now, compare him to the pole sitter.
He was 12th quickest in the morning practice section, so he was flirting there with a top 10 speed. Let's see what he can do now. That is against Ryan Newman, now the pole sitter. And he might get in the top 20.
Yeah, sometimes you run that really what you think is a little kind of conservative lap just to get yourself locked in, then you go after it and slow down.
Yeah. So 18th overall for Scott Speed. Good lap for the rookie here in Martinsville, Virginia. Well, that'll do it for qualifying. We'll come back and wrap it up. And right now, Ryan Newman on the pole.
I'm Robert Shapiro. Over 1 million people have discovered how easy it is to use LegalZoom for important legal documents. At LegalZoom, we'll help you incorporate your business, file a patent, make a will, and more. You can complete our online questions in minutes. Then we'll prepare your legal documents and deliver them directly to you. So start your business, protect your family, launch your dreams. At LegalZoom.com, we put the law on your side.
His journey began in '82, an 8-year-old kid from Jersey learning 7-card stud. He played at kitchen tables, in friends' basements. He chased the game to Atlantic City, to the poker rooms of Vegas. He found fame, fortune, and 7 bracelets. On November 10th, Phil Ivey plays the final table at the world's greatest tournament. Every hand has led to this.
It was always a dream of mine to be out here. You can get overawed by the lights, the cameras, the people. The more you think about something, the more pressure you're putting on yourself. The guys that are out here are so good that you can't realize it until you actually get out here.
When I figured that I did have the tools to actually do it,
It's what I've dreamt of my whole life.
It's a whole new level.
That's what Sundays are for.
Watch the Lumber Liquidators PBA Tour Sunday at 1 p.m. on ESPN.
TBS is the exclusive home of the 2009 National League Championship Series.
Struck him out again.
The National League's best step up to the plate as postseason excitement takes flight.
Grand slam home run.
Exclusive coverage of the National League Championship Series begins October 15th on TBS.
The MLB playoffs are brought to you locally by Community Action Marin's 3rd annual Dream Home Raffle. For more information, visit marinraffle.com.
This is Angela. Angela's always downloading interesting tidbits online.
So listen to this. So guess what? Did you hear about the guy that's turning into a tree? 150 cats in Namibia? I heard.
How does she know so much? She can download videos at power boost speeds up to 12 megabits per second with Comcast. It's just $24.99 a month for 6 months.
This woman, she fell in love with the Eiffel Tower and married it.
Call now to get Comcast high-speed internet for $24.99 a month.
I'm not kidding.
Welcome back to Martinsville, Virginia. NASCAR Sprint Cup Series qualifying is history, and Ryan Newman has picked up his 45th career pole in his 292nd start. He's with our Dave Burns.
And, Doc, maybe most importantly, his first pole in the chase. So congratulations on that, Ryan. How difficult now to keep it up front all day long on Sunday?
Well, we got the best of everything to start, and would like to finish up there with the U.S. Army Chevrolet. But Tony Gibson and the guys did a great job, and we unloaded pretty good and got our 2 qualifying runs in, and just had a heck of a lap there, and felt like I got everything, and that's what it took. Jeff's really good here, so we'll see. Don't know what the rain's going to be like or what the weather's going to be like tomorrow, but almost don't want any practice.
They'll get a great pit stall pick as well, and we'll see how good they are on Sunday. Shannon?
Well, Dave, it's not the 14 on the pole, but it is his teammate, and he is the team owner of that car, of course. So congratulations, your first Martinsville pole. What does this mean?
That's cool. I mean, I wish we could be second to him right now, but Ryan did an awesome job, and Tony Gibson, all the guys in the U.S. Army team, it's awesome. Hendrick horsepower and chassis, and a great staff at Stewart Haas Racing that got him there. So really proud of him.
Yeah, speaking of Hendrick, Stewart Haas, we saw you over here by the 24 car, and some of the guys were wondering what you were doing. Your monitor broken over there?
Ours still has had some of the truck practice too, so theirs was set up in qualifying mode so you could see who was on the track. So I was over there peeking at their monitor, and that way I could tell who was on the track at the time.
All right, see guys, he was just looking at the monitor. Tony Stewart.
They think way too much most of the time.
Tony Stewart, starting 13th at Martinsville, guys.
We've been accused of a lot of things, but never of thinking too much, I don't think, guys. We're picking with Tony about being over the 24 car. Guys, qualifying, surprises and disappointments.
I think surprises, certainly. Joey Logano, first car out on the racetrack, qualifies 7th. Right beside him, starting Sunday, Bobby Labonte. Great effort for him there in the 8th spot.
Yeah, some of the disappointments, they have to be the Busch brothers, 37th and 41st. Kurt Busch starting way back there in 37th. Long way to go to get back to the front here at this little racetrack.
See Jimmy Johnson inside row 8 there. Denny Hamlin, 2 of the guys you know they're going to watch on Sunday. Joe Nemechek made it in the field. Casey Kane toward the back there. You see the very difficult racetrack to pass on. If you start from about row 15 on back, boy, it's going to be tough. And plus the fact you got a tough place to pit on pit road.
Yeah, you just don't get the opportunity to pick where you would like. You just have to take kind of what's available, and there are only a few good spots here.
And as you heard Ryan Newman alluding to the fact that they just ran one session this morning, and of course they just had the qualifying session, the forecast for tomorrow is ugly here, folks. So we're supposed to have practice in the morning and happy hour tomorrow afternoon. They may or may not get on this racetrack here tomorrow on Saturday. But of course what we will have for you on Saturday is live coverage of the NASCAR Nationwide Series. And right now the NASCAR Nationwide Series are standing by. Marty Reed out in Memphis, Tennessee. Marty, for final practice. Why don't you take it away?
All right, thanks, Doc. And what we noticed was a great job by David Rudiman qualifying 5th, one of our 5 double-duty drivers. The other 4, 29th or worse. So they're going to be starting in the back over here, and looks like they're going to be starting on the back in Martinsville as well. Action is already started here in final practice at the Memphis Motorsports Park for race number 32 of 35. Let's show you the top 10 speeds right now and some fresh faces at the top of the charts. Look at young Matt DiBenedetto in the 20 car, second fastest. Brian Eichler, 3rd. There's Richard Boswell, the 2nd, in 5th place. Todd Cleaver, of course, from the former days in the Truck Series. Michael Annette's got a good run going, and We're right out onto the track, and there is Eric Darnell, who is fastest right now. Let's bring in Rusty Wallace and Randy LaJoy.
Well, right now, guys, they're out there pretty old tires. This is the same set of tires these drivers have had on the very first session. So they're slipping and sliding around a little bit, and the lap times are not near as fast right now as they were earlier. So that's to be expected. But hey, right now, Randy, it's all about getting these cars handling good, getting them stuck good. And we talked earlier, we think one of the most critical spots is the exit of turn 4. A lot of guys getting loose there.
Well, it's very aggressive on the throttle. You get in the middle of the corner, you want to get to wide open. This is a big sweeping exit of turn 4, and you're going to be fighting wheel spin all day long. And as we've seen, Eric Darnell does a great job in this car. And there's a couple other names in the top 10 we've seen: Matt DiBenedetto and Richard Boswell. These are two guys that have a chance in a JR Motorsports Hendrick car and also a Joe Gibbs car. And these guys could be the face of this series for years to come.
We talked earlier in the first session, we were first on TV a couple hours ago, about this is an opportunity race. This is for sure the last one of the year. These guys want to shine. They want to look good for everybody. And right now, just as you said, I see about 7 of those opportunity guys from Darnell all the way down to, you talking Annette, guys like that. I mean, they are running fantastic right now, but they got to.
I just see here's Richard Boswell. He's